Top 5 at 5. Educating. Empowering. Entertaining. We are the top 5.
Hope you're having a good Sunday afternoon. Welcome to the Top 5. My name is Yolandi Latham, your nurse consultant, and one of the hosts of Top 5. So today we have a wonderful show for everybody. It is really, really cold outside here in New York, and I hope that everybody is keeping warm wherever you are, right? But if it's cold outside, we've got a lot of hot topics today to talk about. So we're going to just take some time and check in with the ladies, my beautiful co-host. We have Victoria, Hermie, and Dione right now. And we have another person joining us. Everybody, before you do anything else, please like and share. Tell your friends, tell the people you don't like, tell everybody to join the top 5 for good conversation. This is what we're about. We're all about good conversation. Lisa Carper and Geraldine, thank you for being the first to sign in the chat room. We appreciate you. Aricia Hope, good afternoon. And Rachel Charles. Hi, Rachel. Yes. So, what's going on, guys?
Hey, Rachel. I'm watching and sharing as I go.
Rachel. Yes.
Yes, I already did my sharing. So,
I did a ton of sharing.
What's happening?
London, you just look gorgeous. Victoria looks cold. Are you cold, Vicky?
Listen, I'm in New York. That's why you guys see me in the car right now. I'm in New York and it's cold, okay? It's supposed to be a blizzard. I'm not looking forward to it, so.
Yeah, this week has been pretty brutal in New York. Trust me, there's days I avoid going out a couple of days this week because it was just unbearably cold. It's really strange for New York to be that cold. It was cold enough that the malls were kind of empty this weekend. So people like to shop. Wow. They weren't hanging out. They're like, we're staying home. This is too much.
Look at me and Hermie, like we're looking at you guys going, huh?
I know.
Oh, yes, 70 degrees in Texas.
Yeah. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, what?
Yeah, I know, I know, like, oh.
I know. Well, you know what? I'm wearing bright clothes to kind of, keep nice vibes, a light dress, because my house feels like I'm in the Caribbean because everybody likes to walk around in no shirt and short pants in here. So it's always really super warm in my house.
Nice.
So, okay. That's the week going.
So my week has been going good. It started out rough because I had a trial set in immigration court for Tuesday, and I've been waiting on this trial since 2016. And my trial time was 8:30. So I spent all weekend long prepping. They canceled that darn thing at 8:07 a.m. Tuesday morning when I'm almost all the way to the courthouse in Orlando, which is like a 2-hour drive. Yeah, so I was not, listen, I was just not having it on Tuesday, but I pulled it together.
Good, as you should.
And as I should, because I because of COVID, you try to put all things in perspective. And I do see with Mo where New York is expecting a snowstorm. Y'all come to Florida, It's warm here. And by the way, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers made it to the Super Bowl. So the Super Bowl will be in Tampa. You know, in Florida, there's no COVID, right? It's the only state where there's no COVID because the governor hasn't shut anything down. People out and about like normal. So, we're back to court. Everything is normal. So come to Florida.
Right.
There's sun and no COVID in Florida.
But what are the numbers like?
The numbers are terrible. The numbers are high. The numbers are high.
Yeah.
But everywhere is open. Like if you want to go to the restaurant, the malls, the beaches, anywhere you want to go, it's open.
Okay.
Interesting. Very interesting. What's up, Hermie?
Oh, nothing much. I'm kind of like with Diani there. My week started off kind of a little bit rough, but I'm excited. As you guys know, I have an unofficial book club called Let's Start Reading, and we are reading More Than Enough by Elaine Welteroth. And it's going good so far. The first 5 chapters is kind of like more of her childhood, which is like I kind of like, okay, I want to know more about what she was talking about, being in corporate America and maneuvering that whole world in corporate America in her 30s. So I'm doing that. I'm still writing and editing one of the short stories for my book. So I'm just keeping my head down in my business, just doing things that I need to do because I have some deadlines. But it's quiet over here and it's kind of warm, but we are getting a cold front from today. So today is cold. It is 35 degrees in Texas today, even though I was boasting 70 degrees yesterday.
Wow.
It's 35 degrees. It's going to be 35 degrees today, tomorrow, and Tuesday.
Not bad, but that's not bad compared to 16 and 17 and 19.
Yeah, you can keep that. Please keep that.
My niece probably will be going crick.
So, Victoria, what happened with you this week? Anything interesting in your personal week?
I feel like this weekend was a blur.
Oh, it just went by so fast.
Yeah, I mean, I think with the whole COVID situation, everything is going by so fast, right? So
yeah,
I'm super shocked that Super Bowl weekend is next week. I was like, wow, there's still football going on. So I mean, I've been busy with work, with real estate. It's now everything is picking back up again, right, with the market.
Okay.
But other than that, that and pregnancy, we're hanging in there.
So Victoria, you're working. You continue to work full time, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, still full time. Working. People are still wanting to see houses. People are buying houses a lot more. I feel like, even though in the midst of, sadness when it comes to COVID, people are buying houses like crazy right now. No one really wants to stay in their small apartments anymore. So,
I think here in Florida, I forgot how many people per day they say is moving south because they can pick up a home with backyard and spaces. Like nobody wants to be in the little clustered space anymore with the kids. So we have a huge influx of Northerners here in the South.
Interesting. Plus, rates are very favorable right now too. So that's a very good to take advantage.
I think people just want to live now. You just want to live instead of like saving that money. Like I'm gonna buy a house in 5 years, and you actually do have the money now. Just like let's just live because we do not know the day, the time, and the hour. Like even last week, 2 people from Grenada, women passed away, and it's like I was in shock. It's like you see the person post on social media, and then you hear rest in peace, or you see rest in peace, and it's like, oh my God, like when she was like laughing like on Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
So I know I have the urgency to just live, have fun with my children. So even though I cannot go out, but just like I binge watch movies on Netflix this week, eat snacks, and I was good under my robe, and that was like the happiest weekend ever.
Yeah. Well, thanks. Since you just touched on the fact that there's a lot of people passing away, this week we had two people who were icons from the Caribbean that both passed away. So, Gianni, you want to talk about the first one?
So the first one is Miss Queen Cicely Tyson. We know of Cicely because we know her parents were from Nevis. So St. Kitts and the Nevis, her parents were from the Nevis. Miss Tyson was born in the United States, but her parents, and one of the fascinating things I love about Miss Tyson's story is that her father came through Ellis Island in the 1920s. Like, talk about a rich immigration history. Exactly, that's what I said. So her father came out of the Caribbean back in 1920s, came through Ellis Island, then moved to Harlem, which I think that would have been the natural pathway for Black immigrants that came into the city. So she went on to lead a stellar career, queen of a woman. I mean, just an absolute queen. Played some phenomenal roles in her acting career. Always reaching back and pulling people forward. One of the fun things I learned about Miss Tyson upon reading of her death was that one, she is the godfather to Tyler Perry's son. She's like the quintessential godmother. She have all these kids that she plays the godmother role to, and she was always outspoken. And I almost think like we should give her the Caribbean Boss Babe title because Miss Tyson just kind of racked it up. And she's a divorcee, which back then it was common. But Miss Tyson has been divorced twice, and I love that about her, that she was just really, really a really nice role model of a woman. Black America, white America, pink America, blue America, we're all mourning the loss of Queen Cicely Tyson. And from all of us here at Top 5 and from the Ride Along community, we are extending our condolences to the family. If you know, listen, you can come interview. We're extending the condolences to the family of Miss Cicely Tyson.
Yes,
Cicely, one of her most poignant roles was her role in Roots. I think that was a real game changer for her career. She had done a lot of things that were really good because I was watching a documentary and she only said that when she played roles, she wanted to feel like she was in the skin of that person. That's how serious she took her craft. She was all about the fine details, and it showed in what she produced. And in Roots, when Roots came out, I remember seeing Roots, and that ages me a bit. But I remember it was, you hear about Kunta Kinte, and she caused that whole movie by Alex Haley caused like an awakening in this country and probably around the world of people looking back to see like, where did my roots come from? And that connection to Africa that's been missing. So that was like a first taste way back then. I don't even know when that movie came out, if it was in the 80s or the late 70s. But anyways, it had a huge impact. And she's just like, she is a boss babe and she deserves that title. Well-respected woman.
I agree. Hermie, you're mute.
Landy. She was the queen of secrets because you cannot find a picture of her only daughter anywhere.
I love that.
I love that. I didn't even know she was married to Miles Davis. I was like, what?
Yes.
What?
Yes.
I thought she was a woman. I love this. I love her. I'm like, I want to keep secrets like that.
You know, she was married twice. She was married to Miles Davis, and she was married to
somebody.
I forgot the other person, but she was married twice.
Yes, I was like, oh my god! The first time I saw her was I saw Roots, but I didn't know her then. But the first time I heard her voice was on The Woman of Brewster Place with Oprah. And
I remember that one.
I just came to this country, and it's like, who is this lady? I like this lady. She just had the style and the walk and the talk and stuff like that. So I loved her, and I just love her voice, especially in that Tyler Perry movie that she did, Medea's Family Reunion, when the kids were behaving bad, and she stood up and she said, "Shut your mouth," or "Shut up," and she started telling them the history. I was like, oh my God, I wish she was my grandmother. You know, so I'm still like, even though I didn't know her personally, like I'm still, every time I see the rest in peace on Instagram, I'm still going, she really died? Like really, I just saw her interviewing on Gail King. Like this can't be real. Like I still can't make the transition from this day she was talking and then this day she died. Like I still like it all like ooh.
So Billy D. Williams, that's the name I forgot. Thanks.
Yes, did she have a romance with Billy D. Williams? Like who knew?
She was married to Billy D. Williams?
Billy D. Williams and Miles Davis.
Oh, he was a hot guy, Billy D. Williams.
She was a hot chick, Miss Cicely.
Yes, she was. I was surprised to hear that you said that Tyler Perry had a son.
Yes.
So Tyler Perry had a son.
Yes,
he had a baby about 2 years. Was it about 2 or 3 years ago?
3 or 4 years ago, yeah.
Yeah, just about.
Oh, well, that's shocking news to me.
She's a godmother.
Yeah,
wow. She's a godmother.
She
was in a lot of Tyler Perry movies.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, Tyler Perry.
She lived a very healthy life and she made it to 96 years old. And she was beautiful from the beginning of her life right up until the end.
If only we could be
always somebody who always kept himself in check, always beautiful and well poised.
Yeah.
So aside from her,
1 second, let me say a special hello to Mr. Thomas Yee. I sent a message to him to join, and he's joined us. Thomas, welcome. Thank you for watching Top 5, and to all our friends, Patricia, Dion Fraser, Rachel Charles, Geraldine, our regulars. Welcome and thank you so much for watching us every Sunday. We're here at 5. Thanks, Landy.
Yes, I wanted to just mention also that this week we had the passing of Singing Sandra, and she hails from the beautiful island of Trinidad, and she is known as one of a pioneer calypsonian, and she was also a woman that left a mark through her art. And when I'm talking about that, through her music, she tackled a lot of big issues like poverty in Trinidad. There was a very famous song, I think it was called Voices of the Ghetto, that she had sung about that really got a lot of attention to social problems that were happening in her community. Mm-hmm. And she was also really one to really push for women's issues also. She sang about, I think it was, I don't know the name of the song, but the issue that she was singing about in the song had to do with inappropriate relationships in the workplace. So basically she was talking about sexual harassment in the workplace way back then. So as her career developed, she also pulled a lot of women in behind her because as we know, the world of Calypso is a male dominated area and there's very few women. There were very few back then. There's a lot more now who are involved in the music, but now it's not so much Calypso that is at the forefront, but more of soca music, which is a difference. Mm-hmm. Calypso music is more on commentary and it really handles like big issues, politics, mm-hmm. and very big things are weaved into Calypso in very intricate ways that makes it very interesting. So we at the Top 5, we salute you.
Yes.
And Sandra. Rest in peace. Rest in peace. Mm-hmm. Yes. Doug, thank you for joining us. She said, my dignity.
I think that's a song, Die With My Dignity.
Oh, okay. Keep the money, die with my dignity. Dion Fraser.
Yeah.
Thank you for pointing that out. Yes, I may not know all of her music, but I do know I was very familiar with the name. And I just wanted to share this important piece of our Caribbean history today.
And it's moments like this, Landy, and I thank you for sharing. And it's moments like this where sometimes I'm like, I'm glad I'm on this show. Because for me, and I've confessed to you ladies earlier, I didn't really know of Singing Sandra. Mm-hmm. And so because of this show and because of the posts within the group, I was able to learn about this stellar woman so much so I had to go do a little research and reading. So thank you for bringing Singing Sandra to the forefront.
Awareness is what we strive for on this program anyways. Mm-hmm. And like nobody knows everything. The good thing is that we have 5 women together who have come from various backgrounds and we're all learning together, and what one person doesn't know, somebody else might know. Mm-hmm. And we want to share it with everybody who's chiming in from around the world.
Yes.
Yes.
Hi, Dr. Z. We have Dr. Z in our audience, ladies. Come on.
Yay, hi, Dr. Z.
Sit up. Dr. Z's here.
Come
Come on, Landy. Come on. Thank you for joining us, Dr. Z.
Right?
Yeah. So we talked about a lot of things today. Another thing that showed up in the headlines this week was a lady. So Dr. Z, you might want to cover your ears. But there was a lady this week, and it appeared in an article in the New York Post. So she was doing a live on I don't know if it was Zoom or what platform she was on. And in her background, she had a dildo that she was using as a bookend. So needless to say, everybody started to focus on what was in her background instead of what she was talking about. And it basically broke the internet because everybody was so intrigued by the fact that she had this thing behind her in full view. So my advice to you is that anytime you are on Zoom for pleasure or for business,
Wait.
check your background. Check where you're at.
Yeah.
Make sure that nothing is there that you don't want people to see, because that can really throw off your entire program. And I'm sure maybe she didn't even know about it, or maybe she's so okay with her sexuality that she doesn't really care. Like, yes, I have. So what? So what? And the thing about
It could have just been a book and made from
Could have been a dildo bookend.
Bookend.
it was actual. It was an actual. It looked real. Like
No,
it
you know
looked
what?
like. Yeah, like
Google that now.
you might have to Google it. But it looked like the real deal to me, and it was white, flesh colored in her background. It was right there.
Wow, I miss out on these things.
Yeah, it's good. It's Yvette Amos, and she was being interviewed by the BBC. Rachel Charles says, yeah, this was a big deal. This was not a little live on Zoom. Miss Yvette Amos was interviewed by the BBC as she was talking about people being passed over for jobs. So because of this dildo, because of the dildo in the background, I mean, they're calling for her to receive the damehood, and it was a real dildo. So I don't know if she was using it as a bookend or what it was, but it was a real dildo. Miss Amos, she became very popular because the men are saying she should get damehood. They said it's such, they said it was very cocky, and they're nominating her for damehood. And they said, look, leave this woman alone because she looks so happy. Because this girl was just sitting there doing her interview.
Yes,
in South Wales. So she lives in the South Wales, and they are nominating Miss Yvette Amos for damehood. Oh,
excuse me.
Yes.
Beyonce England is alive.
No pun intended.
She's owning her sexuality.
And why not? Why not?
Exactly. Especially when you reach a certain age. I mean, if you reach in your 40s and you're not owning your sexuality, well,
when are you gonna own it, right?
Yeah, like when you go to 65.
I think younger women today are really more open with this stuff, anyways. And I think maybe, you know, as people start aging out, that kind of idea of being surprised about something like that, it won't be something that people are like, oh my gosh, she has a dildo in her background.
Right.
Oh my God, this is a big deal. It's not a big deal. Lots of women have these things. It's not a big deal.
I think if we were to poll, I would say 95% of women have some kind of sex toy in their home or have had. Maybe they've gotten rid of it. I've had or have owned some kind of toy at some space in their life, especially if you're in touch with your femininity and you're owning it. At some point, you would have had one.
You know what? I would actually love to poll this group. So if we can get that question, master control, if you can weave that together so that we can find out about what's going on with the ride along viewers, I would love
or no. And it doesn't have to be women or men. It doesn't matter. Do you own or have you ever owned a sex toy?
Good question. I love it. Love it.
Rachel says lockdown fever. And look at all of us. I think the three of us are blushing secretly. Like we're giggling like high school girls about.
I know, right?
I know. This is too much. You guys
I
are
talk
bad.
to you, Miss
Oh
Amos.
my
You can join us.
God.
We should try to reach out to her. Rachel, get us Miss Amos on our show so she can come and tell us about what's going on.
And maybe she should start a dildo business as Mo suggested.
Exactly. Call it damehood.
Yeah.
Well, actually, it's a multi-million-dollar business because Candy from Atlanta Housewives, she has a very, very big business.
Candy coated nights. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's huge. The sex
I would-
industry, why not?
I would bet that sales of just like how the price of dogs has gone up during the pandemic, I bet you the sales
I
of
think I think so too. I think so, because even some men are afraid. Even a lot of promiscuous, like men in my family, are afraid to go there and have extramarital or extra relationship. They're scared of COVID. So you know, more things are just being condoms are being sold. More things are just being sold.
Alcohol.
Lingerie.
alcohol is an essential item. Alcohol is an essential item.
And so,
Stores can be closed, but liquor stores will be open.
and they
So-
Right, look at Lisa Kiefer said, remember Dr. Ruth? I used to listen to Dr. Ruth as a young girl. That woman was bold and brave, and she still is. I learned
Yes.
a lot of things from Dr. Ruth growing up.
Yes, we all did. Yeah, she was very, very matter of fact with her
Yes.
information.
Yes.
Mhm.
I guess I'm having another blank moment. I have no idea who Dr. Ruth is.
You don't know? She was this little white lady, and she had this accent, and she used to talk about. She had a show. I don't know. Sex
Dr.
with
Ruth show.
I gotta
Yeah.
look it up. Look, I gotta.
On the radio, and she will talk anything sex. She will talk about it at night around 9 o'clock. And you remember it was a radio show, so we're not seeing her. You're just hearing the accent, and people will call in on the show and ask her her question. She was the first person I heard. I never even heard about like anal sex, and she was the first person I heard explain anal sex and how you should
And this
go.
was to the Caribbean or in
Well,
the
this
States?
show is going all over the place. Because you know what? I never heard about that until I was I think in my late 20s. I didn't even know that
See,
was something
even
that people
Kelly-
did.
Thomas,
I
he's
didn't-
like, how do you not know Dr. Ruth? And Kelly Charles Collins said they know Dr. Thomas, what do you know about Dr. Ruth?
Yes, Dr. Ruth. I can't believe you, Funday. Funday, you have to go back and listen
I
to
have
some
to.
of her shows. It's so funny. Some is funny because she
to.
just talks so seriously. Like you're asking this question and you think she's supposed to laugh, and she's not laughing. She's like, yes, you need to do this and that and this and that.
You got the voice, Hermie. Oh my gosh. You just take it and you open it.
I told you that's where I learn about sex from Dr. Ruth.
Listen to Miss Hermie.
Patrice Red said, I recently got one because someone told me you're not completed until you have one. Isn't that an interesting comment? Thank you for being the first to admit on the top 5.
Wow. It's so funny because as Caribbean women growing up, I don't think we ever talked about our sexuality much.
No.
We never talked like even with our partners. We don't have these candid discussions or even with other women. I don't know if we go, and it's only since even now I'm still private about like my married life and what goes on behind. I'm very private with that. And I'll talk openly about a lot of things. But I think because of our culture, we don't talk about stuff like that.
Well, my mother always told us that if you talk about anytime you ask questions about that kind of stuff, you play a big woman.
Exactly.
Stay away from those kind of conversations. And I grew up, my parents are Vincentian, but they spent a long time in England. So they had that British properness that you're girls and you keep your legs closed and you never go in public and wind down. Don't be seen winding down with anything inappropriate. So you're always taught, like nice girls have to be proper and like decent and clean, and you don't run after men, let them come after you. And when it comes to sex and stuff like that, they're probably the ones who should be initiating more than you because that's men. If you act too wild and stuff, people think that you're loose. So these are the things that I got that weren't actually said to me, but you pick them up from conversations.
You picked it along the way. Let me tell you guys a story. So I was like 16. I was always curious about all different things. So my aunt, the strictest aunt in the family, the strictest, like the strictest person.
Yeah.
And we became cool, right? And I asked her one day, I said, Auntie, for who knows Miss Imelda Hayden from Vincennes, she used to work at a post office in Penwater, that's her. So I was like, Auntie, what is sex? And she's like, with a straight face, with her glasses like this, and she said, let me tell you, child, you have to bathe before, you have to bathe after. It really doesn't even make no sense. And when you finish, you smell like cotton.
That's what you told you?
Wow.
She said, you smell like cod. Up to now, when I smell cod, I remember the story. Like, she said he doesn't want it because you have to shower before, you got to shower after. Like, and I mean, like, with a straight face, she put her glasses back up and she just went back knitting like nobody's business.
That is
Wow.
so
I remember even as an adult, a married woman, I tried to talk to my mother about sex and emotions, and nope, not having it. Not having it. She doesn't want to hear it. We weren't going to talk about it.
Yeah, I think parents, I don't know. Yeah, I think parents don't want to talk about it. But my elders, like my old elder aunts that is now in their 90s, like when they was around 70 something, I did ask them. And you know, like I love talking to the elders because they have a lot of stories and they have a lot of abuse stories as well in growing up, rape, they go through a lot too. I say to you guys, talk to the elders, get to know them and try to understand why they were so strict with us.
Yeah, it's so true. There's always a reason why. A reason for that type of approach. Some of it is cultural, but some of it is born out of experiences. So that's why they have these like very tight and narrow things where they want, you're a girl, you do this, you do this, you don't act like that. And it's like you just kind of fall in line. It was even wearing, let me tell you something that's so silly. So my mother said that wearing red nail polish is for whores.
Yes.
And whores women, right? So one day, me and my daughter were at the nail shop. This was maybe about 6 months ago. And I wanted to do red nail polish because I was doing something for February. I was doing some kind of a show or something or a talk. And I wanted to have like red lipstick and red nail polish just to symbolize what I'm doing because it was something to do with the heart. And I'm struggling between red and this color and red. And I really wanted the red. And my daughter said, Mom, you can't choose red because remember what grandma said.
Wow.
And my daughter's that's to tell you how these little things, they sneak in, like the things that your mother tells you from a child, you pass it on to your child, your own children, you don't even know it.
Yes.
I remember my father telling me, like, you know, when you're young, you remember you used to take that leaf and put it on your lip to have the lipstick, you know, that there was this red leaf that was pink lip. And I still remember I was standing on the step and my father was like, oh, so I see you want your lip to look like pig ass.
Wow.
And I didn't wear lipstick for years because every time I put it on, all what I'm saying, like, oh, that's pig butt, is pig butt. And, you know, I just started wearing red lipstick like about 2 years ago because that thing stayed in my head.
Let me tell you, there's a whole conversation going on in the chat about this dildo thing. I mean, I thought we had moved on from
what's it, Landy cause?
Yes,
I know, right?
Veron Noel said you should have one for every day of the week.
Ooh,
who said that? Who said that?
Veron Noel.
Cousin.
One for every day, and Rachel said everybody needs one.
Done. Okay. One for every day of the week. Okay, I'll watch you.
I don't understand. I never knew that these things were that popular. I'm gonna admit I don't have one.
Never owned one.
Never.
I don't have one either.
In fact, I want to know, how do men feel about women who play with dildos and are married?
My reason for not having one,
or even if they're not married, some of the women who are not married, I think would.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is that I think is there a space or situations where men will feel like if a woman's using this to please herself, then I'm not needed?
Let's find out from the men in the audience. Does it bother you?
I mean, I know the bullet is a popular product, you know.
The bullet and the rabbit. Remember the rabbit was super popular. Like everybody had a rabbit at one point. We have a caller on the line. I think somebody's calling in.
Who is
Oh,
calling in?
what did we miss out? Good afternoon. This is top
Caller.
5 caller. Go ahead.
Hi, how are you guys doing?
We're doing
Good.
well.
I have a
Your voice.
not a question, but a statement as it relates to the question that Yolandi asked in relation to how does men feel about a woman having sex toys, right? I as a man, and I think I speak for a lot of men, right? I think men are very intimidated by uh, women with sex toys. It's either it's a hard thing to understand why men are like that, but I think men, me in particular, I would go the miles or the wherever I need to satisfy my woman. And if for any reason I feel like she has to subsidize that with a dildo, I'll feel like I'm not doing my job. So I think it's hard for a man to admit it, but we know it that we feel intimidated by a woman using or being so involved with her dildo that she don't even want to be intimate with her man. It's a lot of things that goes through a man head, and I would like to get some of your guys' perspective on it. That's why men don't even want to touch a dildo. It's difficult. So I would like
Right.
What if
Right.
so caller, I just have a question for you, and I'm curious, what if in the confines of a relationship both parties agree that this toy, let's call it a toy and not give it a name. It is a toy. It's there are all kinds of different toys that we can use in a marriage or in a relationship to spice things up. What if the both of you agreed? And for those that are listening, if there are any minors, Carca ears, this is Adult Sunday. Caller, what if you and your partner or husbands and wives decide that this can become a part of the relationship? So it's a discussion. It's not like it just shows up out of nowhere.
right. I got carried away by the statement that was posted on the screen because I know that there might be younger kids listening to the program. So I don't know if you could ask your question again.
Are you, men or women, are you intimidated if there's a toy, a sex toy that comes into the relationship?
Yes, yes, and I think it's hard for men to really articulate and understand why. I don't know if it's something deep in the back of our heads.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it comes with just being a man, but it's just difficult to admit and understand, why a woman would pass on having the real thing and instead have something that is not the real thing. Right. And why would you want to introduce something else when the person is right there? So you basically telling the person that you're not good enough or you cannot satisfy me. So I need other things. And if you going that far, you probably would go even further. If you by you getting finding somebody else. So it makes a man feel intimidated, like I don't know what else I need to do, or am I good enough? And depression might set in some situations. I ain't saying this.
And that's your opinion, and we value your opinion. Ladies, what do you think for the caller? And just for those who are watching us, this we're discussing Miss Yvette Amos, who was being interviewed by the BBC, who had a sex toy, a dildo. So we're not making this up. She had a dildo on her bookshelf behind her, and so everybody's like up in arms about this dildo. What do you think about the male caller? He says men are emasculated. They might feel some kind of way if their female specifically were to have a dildo. I think in the audience we're getting a lot of mixed things. Landy, we can't hear. I don't know if you're mute, but it sounds like people are mixed.
Yeah, it seems like there's a lot of comments about this whole topic that we're on here, but I can tell you this is that my one of my sisters, she had one and her husband burned it.
Oh wow.
Because he actually felt very insulted that she even
Wow.
had one. Yeah. And he's like a strong, West
Mhm.
Indian guy, very macho
Mhm.
guy who sees himself like the sun shines through him and he's a ladies' man. He was
Mhm.
very insulted by that.
Thomas,
So I understand where she's talking
one
about.
second. Thomas Yee, we would love to hear from you. 718-701-5720. 718-701-5720 if you'd like to call in. We're open, guys. I mean,
Yeah,
as
and
a,
another,
go
another
ahead.
thing, men shouldn't be intimidated by it because sometimes it's just you want to get in, you want to get out and finish, and you guys just take too long down there. It just takes too long. It's like, you just want to get it over with.
I'm learning a way new Hermit today.
I
And I'm
know.
loving it. Fear.
Yeah.
Because as Caribbean women, they don't want us to talk about these things. They don't want to talk about sexuality. They don't want to talk. They don't want us to have this conversation about how we make ourselves happy.
Yeah. And life is too short not to be happy. Everybody
Right.
needs to be happy.
And
Relax.
Peter, all right, here's what Petra says. He said you need to know your partner before you would introduce something like this.
Of course.
Good point. That's a good point. That's a good point.
Yeah. Julian Latham, she said, kids know more about dildos than adults. They see way more than I see at 30. Dildos, what? Dildos don't talk. Dildo depression, you need to have anxiety. Did something come out wrong there?
I think
Julian
so. No.
Latham, clarify
Well,
your
he
point.
doesn't talk back. He doesn't. You don't have to do nothing. You just get it.
Oh, that's what she's
Yeah,
saying.
yeah.
Okay.
He don't give you
He
anxiety.
doesn't
He
talk
doesn't.
back.
He doesn't tell you like,
Okay.
hey,
Oh, it don't talk. Bedroom Candy has great stuff, somebody says. Geraldine Ferrer Keith. Bedroom Candy has great stuff.
Mhm.
I've
yeah,
never
a lot
heard
of men are open to it. As much as this caller may not have been open to it, a lot of men are open to it, and a lot of men do give suggestion of what they like to use as well. So, sometimes I think as a lot of women may not be into it or may not be comfortable because we bring out different personalities dating different people. So sometimes one person might bring out this personality, and another person might bring out another personality, and yeah.
I just wanted to mention one thing about toys. So, Major Hype has been in the news quite a bit lately, right? And one of the things that came up. So, Major Hype is a Caribbean comedian, and he's well known. He lives, I think he used to be here based in New York, but he lives in Atlanta now. His heritage, I believe, is Grenadian.
Major.
And
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, he's been having a lot of problems with his relationship, and one of the things that had come out when he had that big unraveling where he was talking about his girlfriend and how he doesn't want to be with her anymore and how she's this and that. He was talking about the fact that she was using toys with other people. So it's funny. I think he's one of those men that probably does not like a woman who's involved in that. Aside
And
from
I
other
think
things with her character, that was one of the things that had that was brought up. And that whole story with Major Hype has just become like a total unraveling that even has a new twist to it. What were you going to say, Dione?
we have another caller. I think, yeah.
Oh.
Caller, good afternoon. This is Top 5.
Yes. Hi, it's me, Thomas.
Hey, Thomas,
Hi, Thomas.
how are you?
Hello,
Hey,
Thomas.
how about you? Some gentleman answered when I called the first time.
That's fine. Now you have all beautiful ladies at Top 5. What do you think about the conversation?
Okay, good. Yeah, that's what I thought. I want to just say that I don't speak for all men, obviously, but a lot of men, I would say, myself included. I think that's just insecurities, right? Especially if you're in a marriage, and if you guys are, in a loving marriage, and there's nothing to be insecure about. If she wants to try something different, or if a man wants to try something different, who else are they going to do it with? They're going to do what, like the story that you were speaking about earlier. She was using it outside with different men, right? So their marriage or relationship ended. But maybe if he wasn't so insecure and brought that into the relationship where they could share it together, then, the marriage would be stronger and the relationship would be stronger. That's just my point. I was listening to him, your caller, and I was like, no, he doesn't speak for a lot of men because a lot of that has to do with insecurities, in my opinion.
So Thomas, two different inputs today, Thomas. So you're saying it wouldn't be a big deal in your marriage, and the first caller said, no, insecurities. So it sounds like we're split 50-50 on whether it would be a big deal or not in a marriage or a relationship.
I don't know if it's 50-50, but yeah, I mean, so far the two callers, right?
Yeah. Landy, you're mute. Landy, you're mute. Well, Thomas, thank you for calling in. Keep listening to the show. We're gonna respond and dig into the major hype, and it's the same thing. It came up with the sex toys as well. But thank you, Thomas. Thank you so much, Thomas, for calling in.
I think Thomas have a point. If you're in a marriage and that's supposed to be a sacred thing between two people, who are we going to do it with? When you think about that, because when I go back to infidelity and cheating and talking to my friends and stuff like that, a lot of some of them reasons are he's not open to certain things, or he's not open to certain things, or he's not open to certain things. And these are married women. So Thomas really raised a good point. If you cannot be open and honest and be free with your husband, who will you be honest, open, and free with in sexually?
Landy, unmute. So we missed all the good stuff you just said, Landy.
I was just saying that not every woman cares to even have one, because I'm sure, Hermie doesn't have one. I don't have one. It's not a big deal. It's not something that I was ever yearning for.
Why didn't you say Deani doesn't have one? Why did
you know what? Deani, you never answered the question.
Oh, I didn't hear the question. I have to talk to my lawyer.
Well, I mean, that's correct. I
have to talk to my lawyer before I answer the question.
I didn't say I didn't have a sex toy. I said I didn't have a dildo.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Look,
thank you for qualifying your statement, Pamela.
So we saw with Major Hype and Kirby and the role social media is kind of playing in relationships, where Kirby's saying this, Major Hype is saying this. What's going on with that whole situation? And do you think social media kind of messed up their relationship, because we've watched their relationship being played out on social media, whether it's Instagram? Kirby says one thing. Kirby says he's not well endowed. Kirby has been doing this with other men. Major Hype, Kirby's saying Major Hype has abused her. He's charged with kidnapping, false imprisonment, felony kidnapping, by the way. So what are you guys following that story?
When I first heard about the situation with him and Kirby, I was really initially I was really upset that he was blasting her like that, because I do see Major Hype as being a poster child for a narcissist. He has everything that shows like he's just that guy. Like he went on, he took so much time to sit down and piece together, oh, look at what she said. She said hi honey to somebody. She said this, she said that. Like he's trying so hard to like really crush her character. But meanwhile, you were loving this girl. You know that she probably had all these different relationships beforehand. I don't think that this all just came as a big surprise, but I think because she put him on blast, he basically tried to just annihilate her. And I don't think what he intended to happen didn't really happen. And then at the end of the day, it seemed like they got back together again. And now you're charged with a
Wait a minute. They got back together?
They are not back together. I listened to her Wednesday, Women Wednesday. She said they are not back together.
But how did he get the chance to get in contact with her, to beat her, or to drape her up, or kidnap her?
I don't know how that happened. I mean, in relationships, men will come back and say, "Oh, let's talk, let's have a discussion, let's think." We women are softies, especially if you are empath. You're gonna be like, yeah, because you remember you are judging that man and how he treated you the first 6 months. Yeah. You are still hoping that the first 6 months or the first 3 months of that that honeymoon stage of the relationship, that he still has that in him. And this thing that he is doing now will pass somehow. But what I wanted to say about this situation, or just narcissists on a whole, we have to remember it is very hard. It is very hard for us, whether it's a celebrity, whether it's our family member, our parents, our brother, our pastor. It is very hard for us to believe that people that we love and support us will be abusers, because sometimes they do not do these things around us. They are very good to one side of the family or one set of people, and they're another to another set. So we have to remember that. Remember, they recruit people to be nice too, because they know in the event that something happens, that these group of people will be for them because they were nice there, whether they are lending money, whether they are just being a good listener, they never abuse them. They have the coach that they target as well. So, and we have to remember, narcissist has two sides: the family side in the house, so how they behave in the house, and how they behave outside of the home. So the people who are seeing them outside of the home is not what a wife is experiencing and the children is experiencing. And we also have to know, and I'm just trying to, kind of be like, how would I say it? I just kind of want to understand their situation, because we do know a lot of men are dealing with unresolved issues. A lot of them are abused themselves, or a lot of them have gone through trauma, unhealed trauma, and they carry that into their relationship. And we as empaths try to be their saviors, trying to save them from what they've been through, and we cannot save them. They need extensive therapy. They need to go to therapy. Even therapists will work with them for years before they change. So we have to take things that comes out in the media with a grain of salt. That's what I think. So let's not jump too much in the bandwagon. Oh, I know him there is somebody in Grenada that came out this week also as an abuser, and I saw this guy slap my friend in 1991. He boxed her. And I'm seeing women saying, I know him so, and he didn't. And I'm like, you cannot tell me what they are accusing him of today is not true, because I saw it with my own eyes. And his other Calypsonian friend was in shock. He couldn't say anything. He said he just opened, because it was in my home, because all of us used to gather there, and I never liked him from then, both of them. So, because when he slapped my friend pushed him down the stairs, and we never see him again. We never spoke to him again. So let us not just jump on the bandwagon. Oh, he didn't do it, or he did it, or he did it. We do not know what that wife is going through. And I would really love for us women to start asking about a wife. How is she doing? How is her mental health? And do she need to talk to someone? Do she need a friend to talk to? And stop defending profusely these abusers that we do not know anything about. I say go study narcissists. As Rachel is saying right now, they are master manipulators. We that went through abuse know. We know. Listen to us. We know. They have two sides, Jekyll and Hyde. My husband used to laugh with his nice 32 teeth with all my friends and family, and he could be laughing at them and giving me the cut eye with that laugh, saying, oh, you better so don't say not another word. Otherwise.
It's so deep, and we've
Oh,
spent a lot of time.
that's deep, Hermie. That's deep.
Yeah,
That
it just
is deep.
goes to show that, my thing is that he's allowed the world basically into a very, very private matter. And I'm at a point where I feel like I need to cringe, because I feel bad for the children or the other family members or the other people who are very close to him, the
Right.
impact of putting this relationship out there. So when I think of social media, and Hermie, you mentioned a very, very good comment. You had said that Cicely Tyson, nobody knew of her husband, her relationship with these very leading men, Miles Davis, and what was that other really handsome man?
Billy D. Williams.
Billy D. Williams. Nobody really knew about that. So I think that if you are in certain spaces, it's best to keep your personal life and your relationship completely separate. Like even when we met with who was it? The Bayesian lady who came on the show. Alison Hines.
Alison Hines.
I had no clue that she was married to a white man. I never knew who her husband was. Because she never, when she's out there and she's performing, it's her. You only need to know about Alison. She doesn't really talk about all of the other people, her daughter, her husband, and she's been married for years. So I think it is good practice to stay, if you really want your relationship to stay safe, social media is not the place to be doing it. And a lot of people use social media to say like, oh, like, I go on the best vacation and oh, my husband bought me flowers and he gave me this, and everything is on Facebook. So people look at this and think that somebody's living the perfect life. But guess what? It's all a facade. A lot of times it's all for show. And if you have to be posting every little thing that happens in your life,
And I
then
think we
that's
should
a
bring
problem.
Lavina. Let's bring Lavina in.
Hey, Lavina.
Hi, Lavina.
Hi. Hi, everybody. How's everyone doing? Thank you for having me.
Yeah. I'm glad that you were able to jump in for the last few minutes. We're just talking about social media,
Yeah.
and we were talking about Major Hype, just to bring you up to speed.
Oh,
So,
thank you.
Another thing I just want to mention, somebody just mentioned that her friend started a GoFundMe. What does that have to do with abuse?
Her friend.
We have,
Oh, funny.
we have to stop saying this. Oh, I could go on a vacation with my husband and he beat me on that vacation. Does that, so what am I supposed to say? Oh, he took me on a vacation? No, we have to stop saying these things that have nothing to do with abuse.
Mhm.
I think the person was saying, I saw where they said, and I could see why that would come off Hermie as disingenuous, which is why I love the piece about like, I wish everybody would just, both of them would just get off social media, because I think what people don't want to see is, if you're a true victim, they don't want to see you capitalizing on people's emotions, because everybody's emotional now, because I feel sorry for her.
On the same day though, the GoFundMe was taken on the same day. That was a misstep from her friend. She didn't even do the GoFundMe. It was her friend.
Right.
Let's leave that to the side. The fact that she was abused, let's stick to that point. She was abused. Whether the man could do something really good, he could have a good. I remember having good anniversary parties and not talking for the next 5 days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was the GoFundMe. It looks like the GoFundMe was reposted, and I think it goes back to what Landy was saying. Both of them needs, because once you allow us in, so once Kirby and Major Hype allow the public into this private matter, then everybody's gonna have something to say. It doesn't matter what Kirby does or what Major Hype does.
But I don't think there was anything in the media this past few weeks. This thing came out on Thursday, I think Friday morning, with their arrest. But I haven't seen them saying anything about each other for the last couple of weeks, though.
Okay.
It's been pretty silent.
It's been pretty silent, but guess what? And that's what I tell people. When you're having your bad times in the relationship, don't tell us, because guess what? We remember. I remember what you told me.
It's true.
So you can't just vomit up on me, then walk away and say, I've been silent for 3 weeks. Now you don't want me to have an opinion. It doesn't work like that. And Landy, I love the topic you chose for today. What role does social media? Because Major Hype came up with a PowerPoint. Kirby was doing lives nonstop, and I was glued to it like this. Now you don't want my opinion. Now you don't want me to say anything. Now you don't want me to talk about. It doesn't work like that. I think we have to say, you know what, I'm gonna deal with this privately. But if you open the door and the John public comes in, you're gonna be open to everybody now being a part of your story, because you've let us in.
Yeah, we've seen it before too, right? Like, I feel like, the last time we kind of saw something like this was like Rihanna and Chris Brown, and that was like, what, over a decade ago now? And we still haven't been able to, well, society at large still hasn't really been able to forgive. Like, if she forgives him and we're not able to, like, how? Like, you guys made up, but when the argument was clear and so publicized, it makes a difference. Like, I think it impacts how we feel about him, and it doesn't matter at this point. Like, even if she does decide to take him back, and the silence is kind of like them reconciling, okay, but what about the fans? Like, you brought the fans into the drama, so you need to bring them into the resolution too,
That's a good point.
That is so true. That is so true because we take sides. We take sides. And what he did, what I think, and then we start looking at it in cross. Like 10 years later, we still cutting eyes. And him and the two have made up, have 2 children.
This
It's
is
so
it.
true. I've had that happen in my family. You stay there.
It's
I've had
true.
people want to fight other people's husbands, and then the two of them make up, and now you're mad with your sister. Or you're like, why are you back with him? So we have to just. Social media is an animal all of its own, and it has a lot of good things. But where relationships are concerned, I think that it's best that people there should be certain borders established as to how much your partner is involved in your social media and you in his, because I'm not really involved in my spouse's
And
social
let's
media
take,
at all.
let's
I
take
stay
a
away
quick
from that.
minute. Let's take a quick minute to introduce Lady Lavina, who came in.
Yes.
I think we can go. I'll ask Master Control if we can just go a couple minutes more so we can really not cut everything off. And I'd love to hear Lavina's side a little bit more because Lavina, you touched on a good point, and I'll have Landy introduce you. But I want to hear you more because even now, Chris Brown, I don't even want to rock to one of his songs. Like his songs come on, and secretly I want to dance, and I'm like, I'm still mad behind that.
Yeah, I'm
right?
like, yeah,
So-
I had this like,
and I'm like, ooh, that sounds good. And I'm like,
yeah.
Like, wait a second. Why am I dancing to this?
so Landy, go ahead and introduce Lavina so our guests know, and then we can talk a little bit about, domestic violence, how this is playing out and what role the media plays in this. And I'll ask Master Control if we can go for maybe until 6:10, if that's possible.
Yeah, I think he'll probably give us a note that we can continue on.
All right.
So I'd like to introduce Lavinia. Lavinia Latham is my niece, and she's one of my travel buddies and one of my besties as family members. She knows this, and everybody else does. She is a curl-friendly lawyer, so she is an attorney in Toronto, and her focus is on human rights. Thank you so much for being a part of our show. I know that you stuck in at the end because you had some important business to take care of. So everybody, please welcome Lavinia. Thank you.
And I'm curious what Lavinia has to say about how the sagas, how these things have played out over the years, whether it's Chris Brown and Rihanna, whether it's the Bill Cosby era, whether it's the R. Kelly era. What do you feel like social media is bringing these bad actors, no pun intended, to justice?
Yeah, I feel like it's kind of like a double-edged sword, right? So on one hand, these things happen, and then you have a society that kind of like really runs in to protect whoever the victim is, and they don't let it go. And rightfully so, right? If something bad happens and there's a clear victim, that victim needs to be protected, supported, all those things. But it gets bad. Like if the couple wants to kind of put it behind them, or maybe things kind of went too crazy and things got out of hand, and they want to reconcile, and then they do, then here we are, and we're like, okay, but like what about us, right? Like you said before, Dione, like you have like the Chris Brown thing. Like people up to now can't really listen to his music. Is the same thing going to happen to Major Hype? Like we're not going to be able to listen to his jokes or feel good laughing with him because it's like, oh yeah, what am I laughing with him for? You know what I mean? So I don't know. I feel like from my perspective, social media can help in the sense of like protecting, but at the same time, if you don't do what everybody wants you to do on social media, it can get really nasty really, really quick. Like, what does that mean for her? And then people are gonna start, and then it's more victimization for Kirby. Like people are gonna feel like, oh, look at, like you said that he beat you, he did this, he did that, and now you're back with him. And that's unfortunate because that's actually the pattern. The pattern of domestic abuse, domestic violence is such that it's a run back type of situation until one day, God forbid the worst happens, or maybe the abuse stops. But usually it's a back and forth. So it's kind of it's terrible if social media is like on top of you with victimizing. Like, why did you go back? And I feel like Rihanna kind of felt it a bit too, and she kind of leaned into her career, which was good for her. But yeah, it's awful.
Oh yeah.
I don't follow my husband on social media because too many of his high school acquaintances are crazy jumpers.
Yeah. I think social media has really helped abused victims to feel empowered. It gives them an opportunity to come on and kind of just talk about what they're going through. But I think
Yeah.
they have to be mindful when they do that, then we're gonna have our own opinions, and not just me, but the public in general is going to have their own opinions. And I love when Lavina talked about, are we gonna laugh with Major Hype again? Is he innocent until proven guilty? Or as a woman, do I have to just say you're guilty, right? Am I being disingenuous if I say, you know what, let's wait for the trial to play out. Let's wait to see what happens. Are we going to watch Kirby? And if Kirby sneezed, we're going to say, were you truly abused? That right?
As Lavina said, in domestic abuse, you go back, a victim is going to go back about 7 times before he actually leave. I left, I probably left, like, not left, but like he left, who left, left 3 or 4 times before I say, okay, now this is enough. When he choked me, I was like, okay, death is not an option here. I probably could have taken anything, but death is not an option. So I do not judge domestic victims when they go back. When they go back and they go back and they leave and they go back, it is a hard decision. It is very hard because as I said, you are still dealing with a man who you fell in love with in the beginning, and a man you are seeing now, and somehow you think you could change that situation for your family. So I don't judge that at all.
Jay says, I love Major Hype. And you know what? I secretly really liked him too, but to me, there's a part of me that's kind of like turned off of watching his comedy. So the way that I would laugh with him before, it's like I don't really feel like the vibe is not there anymore. Because I'm watching him sideways now. I'm watching him like, really, I feel
I was never a big fan. I would look at some of his jokes. Some of them I would cringe, and some of them I would be like, okay, kind of laughable and whatever it is. But in my book, I mean, and that's my own opinion, that's in my book, all abusers are guilty until proven innocent. In my book.
Right.
That's me. You are guilty in my book until you prove me innocent. And that goes for my family as well.
So Lavina, go ahead, Landy.
No, go ahead.
Now I was going to ask Lavina. Earlier this week, Miss Yvette Amos was being interviewed, and she had a dildo on her, on the behind of her. We talked about it earlier. Lavina, you have anything to add? You're what, a Gen Xer or
what generation are you?
What generation are you when it comes to having a dildo? She was being interviewed by the BBC, not realizing on her bookshelf behind her was a dildo.
Oh, I mean, I have to answer this with my aunt.
No, you don't have to answer at all.
I mean, as a millennial Gen Xer, am I thought I was a millennial.
I don't know them, girl. I don't know what.
I don't even know.
They change them all the time. Who knows at this point, right?
Why?
I mean, if she has it there,
you're a millennial. Lisa Carper knows all this stuff, so you're a millennial.
Yes.
Okay.
Go ahead, Lavinia.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like if that's what makes her happy, that's what makes her skin glow, and she feels good, then hey, like, I mean, I feel like this society's kind of moving in a direction where it's like everything kind of goes now, and yeah. Was there like pushback from this one, like, or like was there like fallout or uproar? People felt away. Like, what happened?
I think it went half and half. It went fair.
Yeah, some people laughed and other people were like, "Oh my gosh!"
Yeah.
So, Lavinia, I have a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
So, what makes your skin glow so nicely?
Oh, well, I use a lot of different products. I drink water. I got married. I'm joking.
Auntie.
I feel like it's breaking up now. I'm joking.
We have to laugh sometimes. We have to laugh at ourselves sometimes.
We have to. You have to.
Yeah. We cannot take things too serious, especially in this COVID or whatever they say time. We have to make light of it. So I still want a book. We were a book endo. It was a book endo. Oh, maybe she put it there purposely so she could get
get the attention. Well, whatever it did, it worked for her.
Yeah.
She absolutely got a lot of attention out of this.
Mhm.
And one of our listeners or one of our watchers said, we're back to the Toy Story again. So
I wanted Lavinia's input. I'm sorry. I just because she wasn't here. So I just wanted to hear her input because
Yeah.
We
I
had
mean-
fun. Today is fun Sunday.
Mhm.
I feel like people do those things to kind of get attention too. Like we were saying, like I feel like
Yeah.
people do like right now, like social media or just in general, like we're all online. Everybody's trying to like do the plugs to get like the likes and get like the conversation. The fact like any promo is good promo. So I mean, yeah, I feel like I'm leaning more into like it was a publicity thing. Because how you don't know you have a dildo in the back? Like how
Yeah,
don't you
that's
know
true.
that?
Like, oh, I just left it there. I was using it and I just put it down so that I could start my live. Like,
You know what I mean? It was used to.
No.
no. No, it was very prominently back in her background, just like how I have this photo. It was just there for everybody to see. So it was interesting.
it
But
was interesting. Go
Yeah,
ahead, Leslie. I'm sorry.
I wanted to switch it up because I've been longing for like food from home, and it's so cold here in New York. And I think about my mom a lot, who passed away, and my mom used to give us gems all the time. So one of the things that we talked about a few weeks ago, a question came up about what was a food that you were forced to eat with the belt behind like your mother held the belt in her hand while she told you to eat it. So what is something that you hated to eat, but your mom was like, if you don't eat this, I'm going to give it to you?
Cornmeal porridge.
Cornmeal porridge.
And we had it every morning for breakfast.
Ooh, yes. My sister hated cornmeal porridge because she hated when it got the skin on top
Cornmeal porridge.
and the little lumps inside. That was her thing. Hmm. For me, I hated balanje.
Balanje.
You know what balanje is?
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't know why West Indian people do this. My family's from St. Vincent, right? So the other word for eggplant is balanje. I don't know where that came from. But I'm not a big fan of eggplant. I didn't like that at all. I thought it was real gross. And my mom used to mix it and put saltfish in it and eat it with rice and like really weird stuff with balan. Even the word, I didn't even like the word of it. What about you, Hermie?
We are soul sisters because mine is similar to you. Every Saturday at 1 p.m., my mom would put rice, saltfish, and cabbage, cook that together, and said I had to eat it. Rice, so I mean, just the three of them in one pot, just man, I will vomit. I will feed it to the cat. I will give it to my uncles. I will do anything. I don't know if she was gonna beat me, but she was so intimidating that I was just scared. I will cry from like 1 p.m. to like 3 p.m. I'm not touching it. I know I like it, but being forced to eat it every Saturday, that was the meal. Every Saturday.
Oh wow.
I didn't like cabbage because I didn't like cabbage. Like, why would you mix all three together?
Right, I understand.
Mine was Brussels sprouts.
You didn't like Brussels sprouts?
No, but like you were saying, like I feel like now when you get forced to eat something like that, now you start to like it. Like I love Brussels sprouts, even in like smoothies and stuff. It tastes good.
Brussels sprouts in a smoothie?
Okay.
Look at everyone's face.
I'm done.
It tastes good when you add it with like, protein powder, and banana covers everything. So word to the wise, drop a banana in there, you can't taste nothing.
Okay.
Yeah, and then your skin glows.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I can eat Brussels sprouts by itself.
I can't put it in a smoothie. Just like avocado, I cannot put avocado in a smoothie either.
No.
Oh wow. Listen, Maurice Franklin says mine was split pea soup. It reminds me of poop.
And others were saying boiled breadfruit was one.
Ooh.
Was another. I love boiled breadfruit.
I don't like
that. With saltfish, I can't stand that.
I love saltfish.
No.
I love the
Up to
saltfish.
now, I don't like breadfruit. Up to now, I don't like breadfruit. We had breadfruit trees behind us. I just feel it's bland. It doesn't have any taste. It's only good in autumn.
Oh, I love it. I like it just roasted. That's my favorite. I don't like it boiled. I think that's gross.
Yeah, I don't
My
think I
mom
like
used to eat really weird stuff. She used to eat like cattle tongue and like weird, like you would come and see like a tongue out in the fridge. It's like, Mom, like what? Why would you eat that? She'd be like, leave me alone. I'm like, okay, because that's on you, because nobody else is gonna eat that in the household. And I remember there was something that somebody had gone to St. Vincent. And you know, when people go down, all your family members say, bring this, bring me some fish, send me a mango. So somebody sent my mom something what they call blackfish crisps. And it's supposed to be this fish that is like a whale or something. And when you cook this thing, oh my God, the entire house was stinking. It's like, why would anybody put that in their mouth? Why? But that was her thing. They
Did you
have some
taste
very
it though? Did you taste it, Landy?
No, I couldn't bring myself to that. And
Okay.
tripe was another one that was very good.
Tripe was common. Yeah,
I don't like
tripe was
tripe.
common for us.
Tripe, you eat it? You enjoy tripe?
No, no. I've been a vegetarian. Maybe that's why I stopped eating meat for so long.
Yeah, I
We
can't
used to eat the head. We used to eat the head. We ate all parts of the animals growing up.
Yeah.
And that's maybe why I stopped eating meat for so long.
Yeah.
Because I was just probably traumatized.
Blood pudding, that's a no for me. Yeah,
You know what one is done
Uh-huh.
that everybody seems to love? Chicken
what is
foot
it?
soup. I do not like chicken foot. I don't like how it looks. I don't like nails on my meat. I don't like none of those things. It's just like, hey, like it's
I
so
know, right?
gross.
Like, eh.
And
What
the
a week.
boniness of it.
What a week, guys. What a day.
This has
Oh,
been
yeah.
good. Mhm.
Oh my God, it's over, right?
Yeah, we're
We've
definitely
been done for
over.
6 o'clock. It's
Yeah.
6:15. We just covered I wanted to hear Lavinia's thoughts. And thank her for
it's
coming
over
in.
now.
My
All
thought?
right, so we're gonna go out now, guys. Thank you for joining us. I know this show was longer than usual. Doug King, Howard, thank you for qualifying. Blackfish is pilot whale, so it is whale. So I was right about
It
that.
smelled
Thank
like
you.
old people poo.
Yes, disgusting. But anyways, thank you guys for joining us today. It's been a wonderful show. Join us next week, same time, same place. See you next week. Love you guys. Bye.
Thank you, Lavinia. Thank you for joining us.